people think of enslaved Africans being a fairy tale fiction type of experience, but it's very traumatic. It's passed on through your DNA. There are moments in where they would literally breed enslaved Africans with mothers and daughters and sons and husbands, and tear their bodies apart, take babies out of pregnant women's stomachs and feed them to alligators in Florida. So the history is very traumatic. I fear for my son, and he can be stopped at any moment because of the car he drives and shot and killed. That's a reality. Just because he's black, I have to have conversation with my son. Son, be careful. Know where you're at. If you get stopped, put your hands up, son.
Tuko family, today we are coming to you all the way from Charleston, South Carolina, because our guest today is a veteran. She will explain to us who is a veteran, but she has decided to settle here in Kenya. Her experience in America and other countries, 42 of them. But you know what? She chose Kenya. I'm introducing to you Kea Simmons.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We are delighted to have you and have this conversation. First, because you're a veteran, you explain to our audience what that means.
Yeah.
And you've decided to settle in Kenya.
Yep.
Of course, we can tell from your accent, you're not from within.
Right.
So let's start with your introduction.
Yes.
Wakesho.
Yes.
Kea Simmons. Who is she?
Yes. So, as he said, my name is Kea Simmons. I am the CEO and founder of Traverse Culture. We are a travel concierge company that specializes in humanitarian work, relocation assistance, business development, and now medical tourism inbound to Kenya. I am originally from Charleston, South Carolina, of the Gullah Geechee culture. What? Shout out to the 843. And my second home is Virginia, the Tidewater area, so shout out to the 757. I originally started coming to the country. I always say this to my Kenyans who are watching. I started coming to the country when Kibaki was the president, when the shilling was 88 to the dollar, when Nakumart was the place to be in terms of supermarkets. And if you know anything about Mombasa, when Bob's Place used to be popping in Nyali. So I've been coming here quite some time, and my adopted family, shout out to my brother James Mloasi from Bamburi. His family, his dad is Taita and his mom is Lua. And so they gave me a Taita name, Wakesho, because I was born at 5:16 a.m. And then Akini because I was born in the morning. Yeah, so that's how I got my name.
Quite interesting that you started coming to Kenya quite a long time ago.
Yeah, 14 years.
Yes, and you caught hold of these names, Nakumat, the president then. Okay, we'll discuss some more about the current the current situation in the country, because if dollar was 80 shillings then to the shilling, or shilling to the dollar. Yep. Today is about 130 shillings.
Correct.
14 years later.
Yes.
But let's get right into it. Why do you say that Virginia is your second home, and how is your family?
Yeah. So so as I said before, we're originally from Charleston, South Carolina, but my grandfather was in the Navy. He did 30 years in the U.S. Navy as one of the fewest black Master Chief of the Submarine. I know you guys don't know what that means, but that's quite important for a black man joining the U.S. Navy in the 70s. And so during his term in the Navy, he got stationed in Virginia, and one of my aunts fell in love with Virginia, and that just became kind of one of the second places that our family would like migrate to and move and live, and you know, kind of change the direction of just staying in Charleston. And it's funny because most of my family don't even live in Charleston anymore. Everybody has kind of migrated out and transitioned to other locations in the U.S.
Okay. How is your family? Are you a mom? Are you a wife?
Yes, I am a mother of a 19-year-old son. I love that guy. I just talked to him the other day. He's supposed to be coming here in December. He's excited. That's my guy. My family is amazing. I had a few family members who visited me here in Kenya over the years. They support me 100%. I have the best family in the world. Shout out to my family. They have been incredible.
Tell us about the connection between your family in South Carolina and Bamburi in Kenya. The adoption story. Who adopted who?
Oh, they adopted me, of course. My Kenyan family. Like I said, I met James in Afghanistan, and this was the first Kenyan I ever met in my life. You know, you guys are very soft-spoken, very conservative, I would say. So you're not loud in the U.S. Like, I don't know. I didn't know that even in the city that I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, that there was a large population of Kenyans living there. And so I had never met a Kenyan until I got to Afghanistan and I met James. And for us African Americans, you talk about Africa, but we don't know Africa for real. Let alone where Kenya is at on the map. I didn't even know where it was at on the map. I didn't know it was East Africa. And he's telling me I'm from Kenya and it's East Africa and we got beaches and we got all this stuff. And by that time, I had started my journey of enlightenment and trying to find who I was as a black woman in America, but now a black woman from Africa, and connecting my roots and things of that nature. So I'm excited. I'm like, oh, I want to go to Kenya. And he's like, you ain't going to go. I was like, yes, I am. And I went and bought my ticket. And 2 weeks later, I came back. I said, when are we going to Kenya? And, you know, that was the journey to connecting the dots. He welcomed me into his aunt's home, his mother home, his family. And the kids were, I mean, his third daughter was 1 year old. She's 14 now, and the oldest was 8. She's 19 on age with my son, and me and his wife are age mates. All of us are age mates, and we're all older now. We were in our 20s when I came here, and so they just took me in. And the first night that I stayed in Kenya, I stayed at his aunt's house, and now I didn't think people were living in tents and huts, but I didn't think people was living that nice when I got here, to keep it 100. So we walked in her house and she got a flat screen TV, surround sound, microwave. I know it sounds crazy. Don't come for me in the comment section, Kenyans. I was like, this looked like my aunt's house in the U.S. And the next morning we woke up. We walked outside. She lived in Bamburi. It looks like Miami, Florida. And I'm like, this looks like Florida. Like, except with the chickens walking around on the street and, you know, things like that. And you're reminded, oh, I'm in Africa. Okay. But then, you know, that was great. And then so the next day we went and checked into the Voyager. I didn't know that was, at that time, it was owned by the Kenyatta family. But that was quite interesting to know that. And then we checked in. I'm getting some eggs, an omelet. And the guy said, Hakuna Matata. I said, oh, you seen The Lion King? He's like, no, that's Kiswahili. I was like, what? I thought it was a made-up word. Are you serious? I thought it was a Disney Channel word. He was like, no, Rafiki's friend, Simba's lion, Mufasa's king, Hakuna Matata, no worries. I said, I honestly thought it was made up, and I promise you,
thought it was a script.
Any other person who see this outside of Kenya, they're going to say, what? I didn't know that it was a Kenyan folklore story and they would use the Swahili words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not a script. We usually say that, Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, well, now I know, but then I didn't know that. I was like, oh, okay. And then on the reverse, he says, you know, your skin look like mine. Mind you, if we're a small minority group in 2025, Black Americans, you can imagine in 2011
how many you are.
Yeah, exactly. So he's touching my skin and he's like, well, are you black like me? I was like, yeah. He said, but you from the US? Yeah, it's a bunch of us over there, like 50 million. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. He was like, well, tell them all to come back. I tell them all to come back. So that's quite a few people to tell to come back, but yes.
Okay. What interested you to get into the U.S. Army? Of course, now I understand that your grandfather was in the Navy.
Yes.
Submarine, right?
Yes.
We watch movies, so we...
yeah. He was on the sub. Yes.
What interested you? Or did he have an influence on you getting into the military, U.S. military for that matter?
Yes, our family is a military family. So he served in the military. My grand uncle served in the military. I had a couple aunts who served in the military. My uncle served in, my cousins have served in the military. So we're military heavy. And then in America, typically, if you do not have a plan for your life and your life is not going in the right direction, which that was the case for me, I had to make a decision whether I was going to change the direction of my life for my son or keep on the same path, which honestly, I would have ended up dead or in jail if I kept on the same path that I was going on. Yeah, so I joined the military.
Let's talk about this path that you had taken that you decided you want to move away from. What was it? This is a family channel.
Yeah. No, I always keep it a buck about my my childhood and things that I've done in my life. So my childhood, I had a pretty traumatic childhood. Come from a good family, middle class blacks from the South. If you don't know much about Black American history or African American history in the United States, it's quite interesting, and we're quite diverse depending on where we're from in the U.S. So we're not all the same. We may be one tribe of people, but we're very, very diverse within the U.S. My mother made a decision to change the course of our family, but it was a very trying time in the 80s where the crack era hit Black families very hard across the United States, and it was by design to break up the Black American home in the 80s. So they discounted our entire generation. I'm a millennial. She ended up on crack cocaine, which unfortunately gave me a traumatic childhood, which then you start to react and rebel because of the trauma that you've been through your life. So, I thought I was a gangster. I was in the streets. I did quite a few things that I won't say on here, but if I hadn't changed, I would have been in jail or dead. And so when I had my son, and he was in his bassinet, and he just looked up at me and he smiled, and I said, oh my God, I can't do this guy like she did me. So I have to change my life and live for this baby.
Interesting. What's your relationship with your mother right now?
We don't really have a relationship. I have come to the conclusion, along with her, there's no secret. I don't have any hatred for her. There's no animosity towards her. We just have an agreement. We've never had a mother-daughter relationship, and I'm the only child. But I have enough respect to say, hey, you did something that most people could not do. You had me. And that's exactly what you were supposed to do, so thank you. So that's where we are.
Oh my. And your son, yourself and your son, or your son and her?
Yes, Kidogo relationship. They don't really have a strong relationship just because she's been in that lifestyle her entire life, and she's still in that lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah, so my son knows of her, but he's built small, like I said, very Kidogo relationship with her. So yeah.
And your son is the only child as well?
Yes, he's my only child. He is currently in university at Jacksonville University studying clinical psychology. So he's a brilliant kid. This guy has never given his father and I any trouble. His father is Haitian. Shout out to the Haitian community, Sapase. And his father's ex-military as well, and his father's an entrepreneur as well. So he grew up in the suburbs. He don't know nothing about the life that his father or I have actually had to come up out of. And so he's a good kid, man. He's a really good kid.
All right. You mentioned that your son's father is Haitian. How is the situation right now in Haiti?
In Haiti, oh man, it's not good, but it's not the whole of Haiti that's in the uproar. My son and I went to Haiti in 2018 or 2017, I can't remember, and we went to Cape Haitian Haiti, Port-au-Paix, Haiti, and it was amazing. But the Haitian people were the first Black revolution. Did you know that? And they fought against the French, they fought against the Spaniards for the DR. And I believe that historically they just have gotten the raw end of the stick because what they did 100 years ago in terms of freeing themselves. But we stand beside Haiti. Haiti, we love you. You were the first Black revolution. You showed us the way of freedom globally as African people. So we pray for Haiti. We stand beside Haiti.
And our police officers are there.
They are there.
Yes.
They are
trying
there.
to resolve the situation.
Yes.
We promised to explain to them what are veterans.
Yeah.
To a layman, who is a veteran?
So a veteran is someone who served in the U.S. military and also served in any type of war. But if you're an ex-military person, then you're a veteran.
You know, unless we see your pictures, because we know the military weapons and all that, uniform, orders, but you're here very calm and collected.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I've been out of the military 14 years. So, you know, for me, it's a part of my life. It wasn't my entire life. And then even doing the civilian contract and work, continuing to work with the military, definitely helped me to be, you know, in the position that I'm in right now. But yeah, it's a part of my life that I don't mind sharing, but it wasn't the entire experience. But it definitely paved the way for me to be where I'm at right now.
In as much as you went in there as a rebel, you came out as
a rebel.
You came out as a rebel.
I'm still a rebel. Well. I'm still a rebel today. I'm still a rebel. I'll still go against in a good way.
Yes.
I'll still go against the grind. I still don't like to do everything everybody else is doing. I don't like to be in a box. Don't put me in a box. I am me. And I define what that is, because when I leave this earth, I leave this earth by myself. I came in by myself and I'm gonna leave by myself. So I have to play by my rules. Yes.
Please paint for us a picture of a woman, Black American, in the military.
So for me, going into the military, I was a rebel. So I went in like, what can I do to just drive people crazy? You know what I mean? Like for boot camp.
Sorry, you know, you're a rebel, but you're getting into a disciplined.
Yeah, I don't care. Like the mindset I still had, like, y'all can't curse. We can't curse on here. Can I curse?
Not quite.
Okay. See, that was very American of me. I was like, I'll bring out the curse words. But yeah, so going into it, I still had the mentality, I don't care. I don't care what you say, whatever. So when I went into boot camp, I would like literally do things to piss off the drill sergeants, just to piss them off. And I got in trouble in basic training. I got in trouble in AIT. And by the time I made it to Korea, I kind of calmed down by then. But for me, as a Black woman in the military, it can be rough, especially around racism. You do encounter racism in the military. It doesn't matter what your rank is. It doesn't matter what you've done for your country. I've been to Iraq twice under what it was called, free or Iraqi free or something like that. I can't remember. And you still will encounter racism. But what I will say is that I got in trouble in the military, but I did have a colonel who looked out for me, and he was a white man from upstate New York who sounded like the dude from MASH. He was raised by a single mom, and we built a connection while I was in the military. And even when I got in trouble, he was like, kiddo, what you want me to do? You got in trouble, so what do you want me to do? And I'm like, sir, at this point you got to do what you got to do, but just make sure I'm able to get out of the military and get a job. And he looked out to me. So it wasn't all bad, but you do encounter situations that just not conducive, and the military wasn't my long-term goal, so me getting out was the best thing that ever happened.
Wow, wonderful. At what rank did you leave the military?
E5.
E5, what does that mean?
Sergeant.
Oh, Sergeant.
Yeah, so I just got promoted, actually.
You're talking to Sergeant Kea.
Yeah.
Interesting. Tell us more about your missions. You mentioned Iraqi. I also saw from your profile Korea.
Yes, Korea, Iraq. And then when I got out of the military, I did civilian contracting. That's where I met my brother James in Afghanistan. And so I worked as a civilian in Afghanistan for 3.5 years for a company called DynCorp, which is an aviation company that actually does the maintenance for Air Force One.
You don't say.
Yes, yeah. So we did logistics and coordinating of personnel and cargo moving throughout Afghanistan for 3.5 years, and then I went home for 2 years, came back overseas and went to Estonia, Bulgaria, Kosovo, back to Iraq, just all over. And in that time, I developed this sense of traveling. And so I came to Kenya, of course, and fell in love with Kenya, and then just started traveling the world like crazy, because when you're working in the civilian contracting world, you make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So you have disposable income. And I'm 28 years old, fresh out of the military, making this type of money. I'm like, I gotta do something. I'm traveling the world. Mm-hmm. And so to date, I've been to 46 countries and I've lived in 8 of them. Yeah.
What are some of your memorable days or moments in the military?
In the military? Mm-hmm. I think building the relationship with my colonel. We were in California training to go to Iraq, and there's I guess a ritual that you do when the colonel walks into, I'm using military terms, a talk, which is tent, set up outside, and you have to call the entire brigade. You guys don't know these military terms, but brigade to attention. And so there was one soldier that was calling the brigade to attention, and it wasn't loud enough, it wasn't good enough. And so I just happened to be standing by the door when the colonel was coming up, and he said, "You call the brigade to attention." I'm like, what? This is like at least, how many people in our brigade? At least maybe 100, 200 people or whatever, scattered in the brigade or whatever. So I stood up, I called, I was like, "Brigade attention." And I did it really, really loud. He said, from now on, you're calling the brigade every morning. If you're not here, I'll wait for you to get here and you're gonna call the brigade to attention. I was like, what? It was crazy. So that's one of the moments that I felt like, I got to bond with the colonel at the time, and he saw me, and even when I got in trouble, he still was like lenient because we built that rapport. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your voice is very interesting, so I can imagine what happened on that day.
I have a loud voice for a small person, right? Like, yeah.
Okay. When we're watching movies, because that is the experience that we have, most of us.
Yes.
Of course, very few get to where you went in the military, that is.
Okay.
There are those near-death experiences. Have you encountered some?
Yeah. Not necessarily in the military. Well, yeah. When I got to Iraq, we were at a camp called Balad. Anybody in the military watching this, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, either they've been there or they know what I'm talking about. The night that we got there, I went to the transit tent where all the females were asleep. I got in town or in Iraq around 2 a.m. or something like that or whatever. Anyway, I go in the tent, and then there's a alarm go up. Oh, and I said, get up. It's some water around. It was like, go to sleep. It's okay. It was training, but then I get to Mosul, where we were stationed at. And Mosul is actually where my brigade actually assassinated Osama. What's his name?
The president of Iraq.
Yes. Saddam Hussein. His sons. My brigade, 3rd ID, actually assassinated them. And on that particular day, we had like mortar rounds coming in. Boom, boom, boom. At any moment, you could be hit. But at that point, you're already kind of used to the environment. So you just go on as if nothing is happening. So by the time I made it to Afghanistan, I'm sleeping through attacks. Like, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not getting up. I'm okay. Like, if I'm supposed to die, I'll die. But I'm not getting up out my bed at 5 in the morning. We just going to sleep through this. So it's very abnormal to live that way. And to, get to a point where you're like, I'll sleep through an attack. And, it is what it is. But yeah.
And in such moments, do you think about your son? Did you think about your son?
No. because I'm like, I'll be all right. I honestly just felt like we'll be all right. So I'm like, I'll be okay.
You'll finish the mission and go back home.
Yes, yes, yes.
How was it? Were you active in military when President Obama was in office?
Yes, I was, yep, under his term.
And how was the relationship between the military and him? You're, of course, a black a black American. How was it?
I think I was in Iraq when he was inaugurated. I can't remember where I was at, or maybe in Korea. I can't remember. But people were just so happy. You could see people crying, and you looking at your elders like just shocked that after 150 years of being enslaved in this country that we subsequently call home, we now have a symbol, because it was symbolism, really. He's still the president of the free world. He was not the president of black folks. But it was great for symbolism that we finally saw somebody who looked like us in the highest office in our nation.
Okay. What are some of the opportunities and challenges do black Americans go through in the free world, as you call it?
Oh my God, there's tons. Is that a joke? Like, it's tons of, where do we begin? We could begin with the enslavement of African people being in that country for 500 plus years, being stripped of our language and our culture, being stripped of our names. My last name is Simmons. That derives from a Jewish name, which means a Jewish family owned my family for hundreds of years. And so people think of enslaved Africans being a fairy tale fiction type of experience, but it's very traumatic. It's passed on through your DNA. There are moments in antebellum South where they would literally breed enslaved Africans with mothers and daughters and sons and husbands, and tear their bodies apart with horses and tar and feather them and take babies out of pregnant women's stomachs and feed them to alligators in Florida, in Seminole, Florida. So the history is very traumatic. And we are angry, because I see a lot of people ask us, why are black Americans always angry? It would be one thing if that has stopped, but it hasn't.
It hasn't, up to date.
You still see contemporary lynching in the United States of America, where they will shoot down a black man, woman, or child for nothing. That is contemporary lynching. You can go to sundown towns today. If you are black and you get caught in a sundown town, you will be hanged. Wow. This is real. Wow. You can go into the healthcare system, the education system, the school system. They have now school to prison pipeline, where they can tell you at 3rd grade if your child will be in prison based off of the behavior. And so our experience, we have a love-hate relationship with the country because we have not been treated right. They have not even acknowledged that they enslaved us. They haven't even acknowledged that they would give us any reparation. But everybody else have gotten reparation over us. The Chinese, the Japanese, everyone else have gotten reparation or acknowledgement of the enslavement of African people in America. And so, you know, it has been quite an experience. And it's one that we are tired of, and which is why we are coming home. Yeah.
By coming home, including yourself, you said you want to settle in Kenya.
Yes.
Why would you leave America for Kenya?
Because of all what I just said. That is, you know, I fear for my son. My son is a suburban kid who don't know anything about the ghetto. He don't know anything about no hood, no gangster life. The boy has lived in the suburbs his whole life. He's an intelligent kid. Now he's driving a luxury car. I gave him my car. And he can be stopped at any moment because of the car he drives, and shot and killed. That's a reality.
Just because he's black.
But just because he's black. I have to have conversation with my son. Son, be careful. Son, be aware of your surroundings. Son, make sure if you go into a party or something like that, that you just know where you're at. If you get stopped, put your hands up, son. Son, tell them to grab for your information. If they need your information, don't touch nothing. Put your hand up, keep your hand up, and just pay attention and be safe. That's the conversation I have to have with my black son in America.
Almost every single day.
Yeah.
But that's not the case here in Kenya, is it?
Not at all. We blend in. We blend in. If I don't say nothing, most people think I'm Kenyan. And even when I speak, they still think I'm Kenyan, but just of the Kenyan diaspora. And I'm returning home. And I have to say like 1,000 times, I'm like, no, I'm not Kenyan.
We call them Samabanis.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like 14 generation African American, Gullah Geechee. I have Kenyan DNA, but I'm not a direct descendant of Kenya. So yeah, but we blend in.
All right. What are some of the things that you do here in Kenya? Okay, let me ask about the hobbies that interest you here in Kenya. Because we are a different country from where you're from your origin.
Yeah. Quite developed country here. So there's so many things to do here in Nairobi. Just alone, you'll get caught up in it. I work a lot, so I'm trying to figure out what have I been doing. I'll go hang out and go to some networking events, social events. Shout out to Austin Holloman. He'll invite me out for a night out on the town. But really, I work a lot. And I love what I do, so that's fun to me. So I haven't really gotten into anything specific yet.
Have you learned some Kenyan lingua, some languages, words?
Yeah.
Apart from English, Kiswahili?
Yes, yeah. I know some words, kidogo, and I'm learning pole. But
you're doing well.
Yeah, yes, I understand it more than I can speak it. But I've learned and I've tried to adapt to the Kenyan culture. One of the funniest things to me is Kenyans speak on zero, like the volume is down. So you have to like speak up, please. I can't hear you.
Could it be that you are used to people speaking loudly?
No. You guys speak you're very soft spoken. No. I think that's the culture across the board. But you have to get used to it, and I'm trying to now just turn my volume down. But I've been African American for 42 years now, so it's gonna be hard to do that.
Okay, what is your most interesting or memorable moment here in Kenya? It could be during the Kibaki time, could be during the President Ruto time.
Ooh,
anything
so
that you
many.
remember of.
I just recently shared this meeting PLO Lumumba. Oh my God, forget about it. I cried. I was like, oh, I'm about to meet him. I have been watching him, following him for quite some time, and I didn't know he was Kenyan in the beginning. And yeah, and then I was like, he's Kenyan? Wow, they have a Pan-African guy? Just like, really? Okay. And so the day that I met him was one of the best days ever, because he definitely is who he say he is. He was very hospitable. I got to go to his home the first day I met him. And by the time we finished our debate, there was a few people there, and me and this other lady end up in a debate, and he's monitoring us. He was like, oh, you get 2 minutes, you get 2 minutes. And by the end of that conversation, he looked at me, he said, oh, you Malcolm X. I said, why do you say that, sir? I said, no, I just got work to do. We got work to do. We don't have time to play. We don't have time to come here and not be involved and not add value to the Kenyan community. We don't have time for that. So I'm about business, that's all.
All right, that is quite interesting. PLO is a household name in Kenya.
Yes.
And actually in Africa.
Yes.
He goes to many countries and speaks on governance, democracy, and human rights.
Yes.
And as a lawyer, he's also in the courtrooms.
Correct.
Spitting out big English words.
Yes, everybody say that. I'm like, he's an orator, guys. That's what he's supposed to do. That is his role as an orator, and it is our role to take what he say and execute it. Everybody has their role, especially when it comes to Pan-Africanism. Everyone can't be the orator and the executor. You can't do both, right? And so you have people who play their positions, and that's exactly what the professor is. He's here to teach us, and we are here to take the words, the big English words, and execute them and make them real.
All right. What's your favorite Kenyan meal?
See, y'all gonna get me on this. Kenyans, please don't come for me. Oh God. Okay, I'll start off with what I do like.
Yes.
Skuma wiki is one of my favorites. I like choma, but choma getting your teeth, so I'm taking out the choma out my teeth for about an hour. So I don't.
Where have you been taking this choma?
Hey, I went to Kitengela last week just for choma.
Okay.
Which shout out to Kitengela and Rongai, I think had the best choma in Kenya. And then I do eat the tilapia fish from one of my favorite restaurants in Adams Arcade. Shout out to the Fish Point owned by a Lua woman. She gets it from Lake Victoria, and it is beautiful. So I typically eat that. I am not a fan of ugali. Please don't ask me about ugali. I said it on another interview, and Kenyans came from my neck.
It's a staple food.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a big fan. I don't like grits either. So ugali is just hard grits. And so if you're a Black American and you don't like grits and you're from the South, it's just like being Kenyan and not liking ugali. It's the same difference. Yeah.
What's your relationship status? You see where I'm going with this question.
I ain't going there either. I messed around and said the wrong thing. I don't have a relationship. I'm just working. Yes.
So are Kenyan men hitting on you?
Not really. I find Kenyan men to be quite interesting. I'll say that. They're quite interesting. They're not as... the Kenyan culture is not an aggressive culture. It's very kind of passive-aggressive, I'll say that. So you typically won't see a Kenyan man come up to me and say anything I don't know. So I haven't been dating. Let me just leave it there.
Okay. All right. So you have traveled the world.
Yes.
And you picked on Kenya. That is where you want to settle. Of course, you have networks in the coast, in the coastal region. Why Kenya?
The people. I say it all the time. Every interview that you see, I say it all the time. It's the people that makes Kenya magical. It's not the animals. It's not the landscape. It's not the Matatu culture. It's not none of those things. It is the people. You all are very magical. There's something about your heart and that welcoming spirit that you have is just priceless. You know, your staple word when you drop and land at JKIA is Karibu, Kenya.
Yes.
Karibuni, Kenya. There is no other country that does that. The pride of the Kenyan people are equally impressive. This is the only country where I've been to where the citizens of the country wear their own flag in the country. I ain't never seen that before. I was like, how is that making sense? You're wearing the flag in the country.
It's right here.
Yes, it's right there. And I adopted that trait. And so, it's the Kenyan people. You guys are beautiful. I really respect and love Kenyans for your welcoming heart.
There's something you mentioned before we went on camera. Medical tourism is something that you're doing.
Yes.
The reason I'm bringing this up is because currently there's all sorts of noise in the country about the medical, the health sector, and especially the social health care insurance. What is your perspective? How is it that we are bringing in tourists to come and see our healthcare system?
Yeah, so little fun fact. Kenya has the second best healthcare in all of Africa out of 53 other countries, behind South Africa. You were voted second best, I believe, like last year, or the year before. You may have been the best the last 2 years. And so what I was telling you before, I think what can help is to kind of look outside the Kenyan box of just being here in Kenya, and Kenya is the only country in 200 other countries around the world that's having healthcare issues. The reason why we're starting to push medical tourism into your country is that our country has horrible healthcare systems, where it's not preventative health, but it is to create situations where you're sick and you're relying on the healthcare system, even if you can't afford it. And most Americans don't have healthcare insurance. In fact, the orange guy just cut the Obamacare, right? And he's looking to cut Medicaid and Medicare as well, thanks to the orange man. And so, you know, this is something that we have to deal with in America that you all don't quite understand because you're here in Kenya, which is fair. But you're not the only country that's dealing with healthcare issues being being not affordable and things of that nature. But the great thing about the healthcare system here, again, it is very attractive for those of us who cannot afford healthcare in developed countries, coming to developing countries like Kenya, to use your healthcare system, which essentially will impact the economy, create jobs, and hopefully trickle down into the public healthcare system to improve the healthcare system here as well.
And so these tourists that you're bringing in the country, are they coming to study our healthcare or they're coming to seek services?
Oh, no, yeah, seek services.
From
100%. From the U.S., we had a client come in at 1 a.m. this morning for medical tourism. She is going to one of our partners who we've signed a historical partnership with, the Nairobi Hospital. Shout out to Nairobi Hospital. And she's coming to get a second opinion for a hysterectomy. We had another client 4.5 weeks ago from the U.S. Who was quoted in the U.S. 30,000 USD for a fibroid surgery, which most black women have fibroid issues in America. Starting to see it here in Kenya and in Africa as well. But she was quoted $30,000 in the U.S. She had retired from her job, so she didn't have health insurance. Obviously, you can't afford $30,000 for a surgery, but I mean, this is life-changing, having fibroids. So she came here, she came through us. We cut the $30,000 to $140K for a surgery.
in Kenya.
In Kenya.
He's from the US.
3 days.
Well, she's from the US.
From the U.S., had the surgery, was in the hospital 3 days. Because we're partners with them, the CEO wrote her a letter. The director of the hospital came. She got to stay in the executive suite through our partnership with her, which you wouldn't have access to in the States at all because you can't afford it. And she was out, and she's now riding horses 4 weeks later after having the surgery successfully here. I've also used the medical tourism myself. We are partners with Halcyon, another level 4 hospital here in Kenya, where I did the weight loss procedure. I have the adjustable balloon, and it was a success, and I've lost 9 kgs since I've used the adjustable balloon here in Kenya, which is much more affordable. The quality of care and the bedside manner is 100% better than the U.S.
Are you talking about a class of people who can afford maybe private hospitals or including public hospitals?
Yeah.
Because the story on the ground could be different.
You are absolutely right. But again, you all have the same complaint we do. There's no difference. Like, you can't afford it, we can't afford it. That's why we come to your country. Like in America, we cannot afford health care. They said about 45 to 50% Americans do not have health care. So there are people are dying because they cannot afford it. They do not have health care.
In America?
Yes. Over 45% of Americans do not have health care because they cannot afford it. So if you're telling me I can come to Kenya, and Kenya has a very robust private and public healthcare system, and I'm using the dollar, of course, and it's $1,100 for a surgery that I was quoted $30,000 in the States, do the math.
I see the difference.
Yeah. And I don't have to wait for 3 years to get the surgery. My aunt, I have an aunt of mine whose knee was hurting. She had knee injuries in both knees. She was working for a corporation. The corporation essentially was supposed to be paying for it. However, she was on the waiting list for 3 years. By that time, they put her on opioids. She was a recovering addict. Mm-hmm. Why would you put a recovering addict on opioids, which is a narcotic? To put them right back in the same situation they were. So now you got two problems. Now they back doing drugs and still have the knee issue. Tell me how that's preventative. This is what happens in America on a daily basis.
You're painting a very different picture for us because we want to go to America.
Why? When you can see what is happening in America right now, it's a war zone. It's absolutely chaos. The orange man has lost his mind, and I don't know why. The great thing is we could talk about the orange man on camera, and you all, out of 54 countries in Africa, I've never seen an African country be able to get on TV and talk straight to their president the way that y'all been able to do here too. So you guys have your version of the orange man here in Kenya, so you can feel my my pain.
So you don't want me to get a visa when I'll be applying for one. So now you're here in Kenya. What are you doing?
We are doing some great things. Like I said, we had a customer come in last night for medical tourism. We have some clients here currently doing our relocation investigative tour. And that is a 12 to 15 day product where if you're interested in relocating to Kenya, but you don't know yet, we put together a 12 to 15 day itinerary to investigate if Kenya is indeed the place that you want to relocate. So that's a hot ticket this year. And then we've been relocating families to Kenya this year as well. It's been, incredible. We literally have 3 or 4 families a month that were relocating from the U.S. We've also had the great privilege of relocating continental Africans to Kenya as well. So we've relocated a Nigerian family here. We've also relocated a family from South Africa to Kenya who happened to be the daughter of the former president of Malawi. So she's shout out to Ms. Dua for allowing us to relocate her as she's a diplomat. And we didn't even know that. We didn't even know that. We were going through the whole process or whatever. And the last meeting, she said, well, let me just let y'all know who I am before y'all relocate us. And we like, oh God, who are you? So we start Googling while we on the phone with her. We was like, are you serious? You're the former president of the daughter of the former president and the niece to the president of Malawi? Are you kidding me? So that was quite interesting. We've been doing some really, really interesting things this year. And then we initiated what we call the Journey Back to Eden initiative. It is our version of the year return that Ghana did in 2019, calling all Africans of the diaspora to Ghana, specifically African Americans, and apologizing to African Americans for the transatlantic slave trade. Now, while Kenya has a different narrative in regards to us, and for some odd reason, people think that all African Americans come from West Africa. That's not freaking true. Cut it out, Kenyans. Cut it out. And y'all can come for me for that comment, but that's not true. So we are calling all Africans of the diaspora, even the Kenyan diaspora, to come home this December. Look to Kenya as the second point of entry for investment, relocation opportunities, business development, and medical tourism. But the time is now. You do not have to put up with the mess that's happening in the US, UK, and Canada, or wherever you are. You can return to Kenya and be a part of a thriving country and add some value with that. So it's the Journey Back to Eden this December.
Journey Back to Eden.
Yes.
So Kenya is an Eden for them.
Yeah. You know, it's the cradle of life. So it's so it's a play on returning to the cradle of life. Before the transatlantic slave trade began, we were all Homo sapiens here in the cradle of life, specifically the Rift Valley. And so it's return. The journey back to Eden.
How are you able to do all this You have so many things that you're doing on your hands.
Yes.
How are you able to balance all of this?
Well, the nucleus is travel. So it doesn't, in my mind, in my team's mind, because I'm a logistics person, it's all travel. The nucleus is travel. So you're using travel as the key to implement all of these different elements, such as the even the humanitarian or the CSR work that we do in Kibra and various communities around Kenya. Again, it's all implemented through our travel itineraries, through our relocation, all of those things. And when you're looking at leisure travel or group travel, which we specialize in, again, that's travel. When you look at relocation, we still have to move you from one place to another. Like we have a client coming at the end of this month, a retiree from Georgia. We're doing her household goods shipment. She's buying permanent housing here. We're doing all of her immigration paperwork, everything for her to be integrated. And by the way, we offer a 120-day relocation integration program. One of the things that I started to see with this whole trend of African Americans moving to the continent was repatriation. We're not repatriating to Kenya. We would assume that we were patriots to repatriate to Kenya. I don't subscribe to repatriation. I subscribe to integration into the community, and I do not subscribe to mass exodus for all African Americans. It's not the end all be all. If this is something that you want to do, then we will assist you as a service-based company. But we're not going to sell you no dream. We're not going to have you make emotional decisions because you want to get out of America and move to the motherland. But we want to make sure that we're educating you before you come into these people country and making sure that you're integrating and you are in compliance with the Kenyan law and the immigration process and so on and so forth.
Oh, interesting. And how often do you fly back to South Carolina, back to the U.S.?
No, well, I had to go home 3.5 weeks ago for a funeral.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I did go back home about 3.5 weeks ago for a funeral. But I live here. My whole life is here. There's no need for me to go back to the States other than my family. And my family are pretty well to do, so they can afford a ticket to fly to Kenya. My son will be coming here, so I don't care to go back and forth to the States.
Really? Like
Yes.
You're settled, satisfied?
Yes.
This is final?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How often do you go for safaris in Kenya?
No, I do it for a living. We take people to the safaris and all of that. But what makes us a bit unique as a travel concierge company and I know this is going to sound crazy, Kenya's going to come for me saying being black owned. I understand that you do not have to differentiate that here in Kenya because you're just Kenyans. So walk with me when I say I'm a black-owned company operating in Kenya. It's different because I am American operating here. And so for me, because our target audience are mainly Americans and black Americans, not exclusively, there's a different way to approach relocating and even traveling here. Our main focus is we don't sell vacations. We're not no travel agency that's selling vacations. We help people decide whether they're going to do business here, whether they're going to relocate here, whether they're going to access the healthcare system here. It's all about business. So we literally only take our clients to the national park. And matter of fact, we got some clients at the national park this morning. That's it. We ain't doing Masai Mara. We ain't doing none of that because you're not flying 20 hours to come see animals. That it just don't make sense. But we want you to integrate with the culture, the people, the food, the spirit of the country, and then look at opportunities, investing and adding value. That is our goal.
Okay. Please talk to the 19-year-old Kea in Charleston. What would you tell her?
Ooh, that's a good one. Wait, 19.
Yes.
Hey, 19-year-old Kea, man. Hey, she was going through a bunch of stuff. I actually was in Virginia at 19, running the streets, running wild. I had low self-esteem. I didn't think that I was really that smart. And I didn't think I was going to be able to accomplish anything. If you would have told me 22 years ago that I would be doing business and being interviewed by Tuko in Kenya, I would have freaking fell out of my chair laughing and called you a liar. Because the 19-year-old Kea was just not as confident. She didn't even know her way. And so my advice to my inner child, whom I've learned how to reparent at my big grown age at 42. But my advice to her is dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper, because you've been doing this on your own the entire time. You didn't even realize it. But you are a warrior. You've been a warrior from birth. You were 3 months premature, and you still made it in this world. So don't second guess yourself. Rely on your heart and your intuitive. Be respectful to your great-grandmother and your grandma. Listen to them, because 22 years later, the things that they told you actually was true, and that you will use them in your adult life, even raising your own child. So be kind to yourself. Love yourself. Have integrity. And most important, remain loyal to yourself as you go through this process called life.
You sound like you were brought up by your grandparents.
Yeah, I was raised partially by my great-grandmother, who was born in 1920, and my grandmother and a grand-aunt that just passed away. And my aunts and uncles, and I had a village. So while my mother may have made some decisions that weren't conducive for my upbringing, I definitely come from a very strong family that loved me and took care of me, and it helped me find my way when I became adult and realized that I needed to hold myself accountable for the things that I was doing to myself.
Thank you so much, Kea Simmons.
Yes.
For your time with us here at Tuko. We wish you the very best. I think the best we can tell is go, girl, go.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Peace.
No, please send out shout-outs to the people watching from America.
Oh, yeah. So shout out to anyone that's watching in America, around the world, especially my Caribbean and my Kenyans who also watch me globally. But for my African American sisters and brothers, I do want to say this. While you are looking on YouTube and you're looking for opportunities to relocate and start your life afresh, keep this in mind. One, do your research, do your due diligence, and make sure that when you're looking for an African country, let's use Kenya, make sure that we're checking ourselves when we are relocating here and we're integrating as opposed to repatriation, because we do not want to cause a problem. We want to add value to the communities. But I love y'all. If you're interested in relocating, traveling, or accessing the medical tourism here in Nairobi, Kenya, you can go to our website at tverse.com. You can also call us at our 1-800 number or email us. Either way, we got you.
Tuko family, there you have it. That's the story of Kea Simmons from America. Now she is in Kenya, and she says that is the final destination for her and her family. She will stay and live here in Kenya. Probably we beat ourselves so bad that we don't realize what a gem we have as a country. My name is Kingori Wangeshi. This has been my story right here on Tuko Talks. See you next time.